So you came from Spotify, which is a big company, and now you're in a little company. How does your day change?
So it's definitely very different, especially in my last few years at Spotify when we had grown into a really large international company. It's a cliche, but as a CEO and a startup founder, you have to wear all different hats, right? Dealing with everything from the financing rounds to taking care of the customers to the legal stuff, everything, which I definitely see as a great thing because I've developed so much over these 6 months. I can actually be upfront and say that I've learned more than maybe I have in my whole career, because there's so many different things that you never thought you had to deal with before. But also I can see some similarities with Spotify. So as I mentioned before, I joined Spotify 9 years ago and it was a completely different company. And what I really learned from that time was that it was all about trial and error. We came with a new product that no one really knew what music streaming was. We were all used to downloading the music or even CDs from before. So we had to educate the market on a new product. And that's what I'm seeing that I have to do with Bumpy again. That putting fertility experts in your hands and in your mobile phone is something completely new. So it's all about also educating the market. So I definitely have lots of great learnings from my time at Spotify that I can take with me into building Bumpy. I've seen the journey from being a small startup into the international large company that it is today. So it feels like I've been at 100 different companies throughout these 9 years. But since my issue didn't get resolved, and no one else was producing the tools that I needed, I kind of had to leave Spotify to do this. And for me, it was also a fact that when I finally started opening up about what I was going through, I realized that I had so many close colleagues around me that were going through similar things, just that we didn't talk about it. We were sitting in front of each other every day, month after month, year after year, but we never talked about that we were going through these kind of processes. So I realized that it wasn't just me, but we were so many that really needed these kind of tools that we're now developing with Bumpy. So that was what ultimately made me take the leap and leave Spotify to do Bumpy 100%. Having an angle of it, seeing like I've been for such a long time at Spotify, I've learned so much from this company. So either way, it might be a good time to try something else if it's not Bumpy. And so yeah, I decided to see the positive way, and now I'm just so happy that I dared to take that step. Best decision of my life so far. So the financial part was definitely a big part of that decision, and the reason why I went back and forth a lot before taking the leap to leave. Just like many other startup founders, I had to come up with creative ways on how to cover that. For example, renting out my apartment, moving to a smaller apartment during my first month, etc. And also because I had those 6 months to think about it, that definitely helped me in my decision, because I had the possibility on month 7 to go back, and I would lie if I would say that everything was crystal clear, that I knew after 6 months that this was my thing to do in life. I definitely had it was a lot of back and forth, and also being at Spotify, which is an amazing company, for such a long time, almost a decade. It was a big decision to leave. In the end, again, since this is such a big passion, it's a bit different working with something where you want to do something for yourself. So I think that in my case, what was that ultimately made me take that step